What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Rapflix Radio. This is your host, Kyle Rapp, and this is the show where we believe an elite life is executed with love and purpose by design. I'm so happy to be back, and I have one hell of an episode for you. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. And before I begin, if you are not subscribed to either the YouTube channel or the podcast, please do so. Do not want you to miss one single episode that's going to help you take your performance to the next level. And today we're talking about the pyramid of elite achievement. And that has a mysterious headline because I want it to be. What is the pyramid of elite achievement, and why a pyramid specifically? Understand that when we build whatever it is, and I'm going to get into awareness, vision, habits, and peak performance, we are building those constantly and consistently if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Now, when I talk about problems and challenges, when we're faced with adversity, when we're faced with emotional entanglement, this can get in the way. But really, anything that we do starts at the bottom, and now we're here now, and we build upon it, and that's why the pyramid is one of the most stable shapes that was really ever either created or noticed, because you start with a solid foundation and you build up, and that's a perfect metaphor for what really elite achievement really is. And it starts with knowing exactly who you are. And I know so many people who don't really know themselves, and I'll get into why. And honestly, I never used to as well until I really started asking myself uncomfortable questions and getting very clear on my belief patterns, my emotion patterns, my habit patterns, and then the results that I either saw in my life or that I perceived. And that acronym is BEAR, so beliefs, emotions, actions, results. That creates our reality. And if you don't have self-awareness, you're not going to know what your beliefs are, and you're going to act off of emotion or of other people's opinions of what they want for you in your life. And when you become self-aware and you build this awareness, it's going to allow you to become the person you actually want to become. Now, with that awareness comes a heightened sense of what is possible for you in your life, and that is what I call vision. Having a vision for where you're going to go is the only thing in your way of actually getting there. When I preach clarity and control by design, having clarity of where you're going and then having control over it, perceived control, because we unfortunately, to bring up Kobe, we don't know that tomorrow is given. But anything that you hear from me, tool-wise, is something that allows you to have more control. So I'm going to move on to what I'm referring to as awareness, vision, habits, and peak performance. Coming from that vision that we have for our lives and where we're going, we understand that our daily actions is what's going to take us there. It's undeniable in the research. It's undeniable in the people's lives behind me. And in any book, Atomic Habits, at least in my circle, is rather important and memorable right now. And James Clear, he's from Columbus, so he's a cool dude. And we understand that our daily actions allow us to get to where we want to, and those are called habits. We build those either consciously or subconsciously. We have good, bad, and neutral, just depending on your life and where you're trying to go. And then those habits allow you to perform at a certain level. And my job as a performance coach is to get you at your peak and to be in flow state. And that's when things come effortlessly and you act upon instinct rather than thinking, and you know what to do because you've practiced and you've built those habits, you have that vision, you believe in it, and you have the self-awareness. So I broke down what really the pyramid of elite achievement I believe is. Here's what most people do, and I'll reiterate this because it's so important. People don't really know themselves. This leads to comparison syndrome, because if you did know yourself, you were comfortable with yourself, and you loved yourself, you would compare yourself to other people positively and look upon them with inspiration and say, okay, like they've put more time in, they've achieved a level of success that I'm not at currently, or yet is the best word possible right now with this mindset shift. And most people will compare themselves and think, oh, I can never get there. And they stay in this rut because they don't know and accept themselves, because they either haven't done any self-awareness training, or they're ignoring their negative habits, their negative emotions, and they let those things take control of their lives. And if you're listening to me, that is not something I want for your life. Another problem is people don't have a vision for their life, and they end up settling. I see this too often, and again, if you're listening to me, I don't want you to be one of those people. I want you to live an elite life with purpose and love, and by design is where I come in. But to have purpose and love is to know where you're going and have a crystal clear vision of what that looks like. And another problem is having built habits for who they want to become. We've all built habits. From the moment we wake up till the time we go to bed, we do things out of instinct because we've done them so many times we don't even think about it. It's like tying a shoe, which is the most general analogy out there. But really, like, you understand that your daily actions are your habits. And if those daily habits and actions aren't conducive to the person that you're trying to become, you're not going to get there. And finally, people don't execute consistently. They let their emotions run haywire. They're not, I hate this word, but disciplined, in alluding to my Flex Philosophy course, which this podcast is brought to you by, my own free mental conditioning series, going all into focused learning, enthusiasm, and execution. Execution is the point, but people don't focus, so they can't execute. So I want to show you, and I want to dive into actually my story. Forget that for a second. Oh, let's see. So it's 2017, I believe, and I enjoy telling this story, so if you've heard this before, I apologize, but it's a cool story, and some of you have it. I was denied by all three colleges that I applied for grad school, and it is what I consider my rock bottom to this point, because I gave up a promising career in the private golf club industry, and it humbled me in a good way, but it was also pivotal to go through that experience to understand I had two roads to go down. It was either I could fail, give up, and do something easier, and I was told and suggested the gym teacher route, which I almost cried, or I could get better. I could understand that it wasn't a personal attack on me to deny me admittance, and with Bowling Green, it was just so many people had applied that year, so it wasn't a reflection on me, but I took it that way because I had no self-awareness. and I allowed those emotions to seep in for a good 3 or 4 months, and it was really all I could do to go to the gym and work, and that's basically what I did. And I was by the pool one day, and I decided not to listen to a George Strait song, and I clicked on the little purple icon on my phone, which is the podcast app. And again, hadn't listened to a podcast before 2017, which isn't that long ago. I typed in sports psychology because I still had a deep passion for it, but not like today. It's on hyperdrive right now, and it always will be, but I still had interest in it. So I typed that in. I come across the Sports Motivation Podcast, and that allowed me to have the self-awareness and the awareness of the world, of what reality actually was. Like, we create a lot of stories in our head. We compare ourselves, and that podcast allowed me to get out of the negative emotional rut that I was in. Now, the fun part of the story is I go on to produce that said podcast about 6 months later, get coached by that individual who is a former NFL running back, now peak performance consultant, for 2 years before I started my own company. So I had the guidance and the education from someone who played with Drew Brees and was with Reggie Bush and was under the tutelage of Sean Payton, one of the best offensive minds and one of the best coaches in the NFL right now. And that allowed me to really grasp all of these things, but really it started off with awareness that, you need to apply again. You need to take another stab at this. There is more for you than this, what you can see now as a roadblock, but really it's another path. And that's when entrepreneurship really started to take hold of me, and something that I've grown a tremendous fondness for. And when I applied in 2017 and got denied, I had no entrepreneurial aspirations, like none whatsoever. Because the theory back then was, get my master's, get my PhD, and then intern with either the military or I get lucky somewhere else. And my life took such a different path because of that failure. And if I didn't acquire the self-awareness, I probably would have given up. And then I created a massive vision for my life based on that new information, that new confidence I had, and just being aware of now, like, I can build skill sets really well. And you'll learn more about that when you take the Flex Philosophy training course. And like I can now believe in myself, and I created a massive vision because people who are behind me, the elite performers, they think very big and they go out and execute very big. And that's what it takes. And then I started to build the habits and routines in my life for that person that I wanted to become. I hired a coach, Cody, shout out, had him on the podcast. He does my programming. I get up at least at 6:30 every day, unless I need to sleep in, which sometimes happens, but getting up at a consistent time, having a meditative practice, reading has been absolutely fundamental. Having a pre-work routine, having a sort of post-work routine to transition from work me to relax me so I can go to sleep and not be staring up at the ceiling thinking about 1,000 different things. Having an evening routine that allows me to relax and get to sleep quicker and better sleep. And I've added all this because I've studied the best of what they do. I've studied the research of evidence-based and high performance studies, and this is what the best do. And I want to be the best. I want to be the best elite performance coach in the world. So I need to build the habits of the person I want to become and not settle for the ones I have now. And finally, that peak performance aspect is being consistent every day. And now I'm not saying I work every single day, damn close, but right now that's the startup way, and that's inevitable when you first start. It's showing up as your best every day consistently, and that's something I've built within the past, I would say, 9 months. It was very touch and go at the beginning because I was now 100% control of my schedule and really didn't know what to do. And there was a lot of trial and error, honestly. And I have different days where I have different focuses, and that's allowed me to honestly get a lot of things done and have the focus necessary to do all those things. But it did take trial and error because it was just something I wasn't, something I never did. But I took that action. And I understood that my performance in showing up, like right now, and everything else I'm working on, it deserves me at my peak state. So I needed to figure that out. So that's my story. And I want to cover some steps and do's and don'ts when it comes to this pyramid of elite achievement when I'm talking awareness, vision, habits, and peak performance. I want you to start asking yourself the uncomfortable questions you're avoiding. What are those things? Those can be, what are my weaknesses? And if you don't want to ask yourself that, take a personality test, see those weaknesses, and then do you agree or disagree? Some other questions like what is your history with authority, and could that have an impact on how you act now? I want you to really think about that. And I know it's a very grand scale, but there are a lot of questions that you're going to come across in either books or just real life that's going to allow you to answer why you think or act in certain ways. Next is think bigger. I want you to think bigger for your life because I know you're capable of more. And that's evident in everyone I come across. Even including me, I know I can think bigger. Next is create one habit that will allow you to become a person that you're proud of. And this is the biggest thing. If that means getting up an hour early, if that means going to the gym more, if that means eating healthier, whatever that means for you, identify that one habit that would help you become the person you're proud of. And then continue to make habit changes, but really start with one. And lastly, create a pre-performance routine that helps you execute consistently. And I have a PDF for you in the Flex Philosophy mental training series that I mentioned. It's going to change your life when you get very clear on what you should do at the beginning before you start work, so you can be present within that moment. Finally, to wrap up, I know I've mentioned this at least 4 times, but I want to get you into the Flex Philosophy. It is a free mental training course designed to teach you the tactical fundamentals of focus, learning, enthusiasm, and execution, which is what my company's built on. It's what I've grown within myself, and it's where I've seen the most massive results. And I have a special offer once you get through those 4 days to work with me in a discounted setting within the 4 components that I've talked about with awareness, vision, habits, and peak performance. I want to teach you the tactical steps and get very clear on who you are, where you want to go, how to get there with habits and routines, and then how to perform your best consistently. And I teach you that through this special offer that I have at the end. I want you to take advantage of it because it is going to dramatically change your life, and it is going to allow you to get to where you want to a lot quicker than reading 10 pages a day or going through this personal development journey. I've done this for years, and it's taken years to understand what is the most important. What are the biggest habits and trends? And my one-on-one coaching is at least 12 weeks. I've taken the best 4 components of that one-on-one and made it into a course, and that is what I'm alluding to. But it's going to give you so much better clarity and control over your life. And I repeat this because it's important. You're finally going to know who you are. You're going to create a massive vision for where you want to go. I'm going to teach you how to create habits and routines in your life and how to perform at your peak state consistently. So again, if that is something you're interested in, go to the show notes, click on the Flex Philosophy, sign up for that. I'm going to give you a special offer within that free course to take what is called the Mental Conditioning Hierarchy course. And I hope you guys take advantage of it, because I believe it's going to massively change your life and speed up the process of which will take you to where you want to go. And until next time, guys, have a great day.